Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
What are you wearing?
A Canadian tuxedo. And I'm a hockey player. Let's go Blues.
Who are you, Blues fan? We're bleeding blue with you. Let's go Blues! Let's go Blues! Let's go Blues!
BlueNote Fan Report. Aloha and mahalo, and welcome to the BlueNote Fan Report. I am Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan, and this is the show that wasn't supposed to be the show. No, it was not. I had not planned on doing a show today, but then our Blues, they go and do something kind of you don't expect, but they do it. They go out and they get Kevin Hayes. We've been hearing about it and all of this rumor, all these pieces and parts that were supposed to be part of it, and lo and behold, they only give up a 6th-round draft pick. Plus, Philly is taking 50% of his check for the next 3 years. Yay, Philly! So I got with me today Mr. Lance Scott from the Drop. We're here today. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about the Blues, who they tendered free agents, or who they tendered restricted free agent contracts to, and who they did not. And also just a little bit about the draft is coming up. First part of this that I want to talk about, I mean, getting Hayes is one thing, but I want to talk about this because Erickson Krieger brings this up, and I'll try and get to your comments as good as I can, guys. Give me some time, right? As long as it's a real comment. Says good trade, now trade Krug if possible. And he asked, how much are we paying? Well, what I saw on Cap Friendly was 3.54, I think it was. Right? Is that what they got? We are paying him $3.571 million. So just over 3.5, just under 3.6 million for the next 3 years, and Philly will be paying the rest of that. I want to know what you think about A, us getting Hayes, and B, Krug not leaving, and then I'll tell you how I feel about it.
One of the defensemen is going to have to go. Somebody's going to have to go. Doug Armstrong's not done because they only have 19 out of 23 contracts tendered, if I'm not mistaken, and they have very little cap space. So there will be other moves made. Krug is still a possibility to go somewhere else. I know Carolina was interested in him. I knew Florida was interested in him. And, Pasternak put something out that he's definitely coming back to Boston. That's not true so far from what I'm being told. So, but I think if anybody's going to be gone, it's going to be Krug. You're not paying Hayes anything for a second, third line center. So I'm fine with it. It's a low risk, high reward type of deal. He's averaged about 15 goals and 23 assists throughout his career. So, for $3.5 million, that's not bad.
No, I told you this. First of all, our current cap space is just under $4 million. So there's enough cap to sign the RFAs that we have, right? There's not enough cap to really bring anybody else in. You can sign your RFAs. On the NHL side, your RFA is Torpachenko.
Who else is left to sign? Because they've already signed.
On the AHL side, you have Hugh McGing and Tyler Tucker. Both McGing and Tucker are going to get small raises. I'm thinking that they're going to be between the three of them, that's going to be right at $3 million, I think. Maybe 3.5. That's what I think between the three of them. It'll be 3.5.
Are they all RFAs?
Yes.
Then they would have had to offer them a contract by the 25th, which they did. Yeah. So that already counts in their cap if they've already offered them that.
Oh, they haven't shown it up yet.
Well, they haven't shown it up yet.
They haven't signed the contract until they sign that contract.
But still, they have no money left because they've already got them guys inked and it just still hasn't shown up.
Well, they don't have them inked. They have them offered.
Well, they're going to take them. I mean, they don't
more
have
than
much
likely.
of a choice.
Yes. I mean, they're pretty much stuck with it. But I'm just saying, you gotta speak in actuals. You can't.
Well, I am speaking in actuals because they can't go out and sign somebody for $3.5 million. That money's already gone.
It may be. I mean, I get where you're at. See, here's my thing. I don't think Krug's going to be gone. And if he is, my issue with Krug, and unfortunately, I wrote an article today for Full Press Hockey, but they haven't released it yet. There's everything going on. They haven't had a chance to edit it, whatever. But when it comes down to, my fear is that if we're going to lose Krug, it's going to be the same situation that we just got into, right? It's going to reverse on us. We forced Philly to trade him for nothing and take 50%. We may end up in that boat with Krug. We may heavily be in that boat with Krug, and that concerns me because Krug makes 6.5, right? And now here it is, and Krug makes 6.5 for the next 4 years. So it's not just 3 years; it's 4 years. That money could really. You got to trade him outright, and I don't think anybody on the upper level that he would go to has the room, and that's what's going to be important. So you may end up eating his contract for a fifth-round pick. I mean that's a possibility.
I'm being told that there's no way Doug Armstrong will take that for him.
Well, I bet then he plays.
They're wanting to move him, but
he's not going anywhere because first of all, he has Armstrong fucked this up in my opinion, right? They made it. They had a deal in kind before he went to Torrey and talked to Torrey. That's on him. That's on him because you gotta know. Something like this is going to get leaked. If I'm Armstrong, this is how I handle this. I go all the way back to the end of the season. I sit each one of these guys down. Every guy that comes through there, the ones that have a no trade clause, I would sit there and I'd say this, hey, I know you have a no trade, and at the moment, I have zero interest in trading you. However, if someone comes to me with an offer, I'd like to know what teams you'd be willing to waive your no trade clause for if something comes down the pike. The reason I'm asking you this is so I don't have a situation where I'm working in a deal and it gets leaked before I've had a chance to talk to you. If there's no team, you tell me that, and then I know not to put you out there. But, you think about that. What is wrong with doing that?
I can tell you what's wrong with it. If you go to every guy that is a possibility, that has a no trade clause, and you tell him you don't have plans on trading, but you might, that's in the back of his head all the way up to the trade deadline. You don't want something like that in the back of a guy's head. You want to be able to go to him when it happens, not let him think about it before then. Let him think about it when it happens.
I disagree with that. I disagree with that.
Guy, I know these players. If you tell a guy, I don't have plans of trading you, but since you do have a no trade clause, I want your list. Trust me, a lot of guys are going to be thinking about that in the back of their head. I don't want a player.
I didn't say you give a list. I say just get, what are teams that you'd be willing to? I'm not saying you're giving the list. I'm saying willing to.
That's
you got to
giving a
keep
list.
the door open. You got to keep the
That's-
door open. And you
that's
know what?
giving but
Every
that's
one of
giving a
these
list.
guys knows this is a business.
It is a business, but you don't do it that way, guy. I don't know any GM unless the players ask for a trade. If a player asks for a trade, then they might say, hey, we are trying to trade you and accommodate you. But you don't want to go to every guy that's got a no trade clause and say, you know, I know you have a no trade clause and I gave it to you, but sometime in the season I may come and ask you to, you know, to squash that clause.
Oh, see, you're missing what I'm saying. You're missing what I'm saying.
Guy,
You're
you don't
missing it.
ask them for a list of teams they want to go to. That's telling them that you might trade them.
No, it's not. It's the exact opposite.
Then why ask for it?
Right?
If you
have to keep the door open. What happened in this situation? What would you rather do? What would you rather do? Have a guy be disgruntled because his name got leaked, or know ahead of time that guy would not go to Philly and I'll keep his name out of the papers?
I would rather have a guy that's focused on playing hockey, regardless of what's happening. And then
now you don't have that. Now you don't have that.
And yeah, but you know what? Now he can think about it. Before he didn't have to think about it. Trust me, guy.
It's the same situation, Lance. You could have avoided this completely. You could have avoided this completely. No, you couldn't have.
Ask any GM. Ask any GM. Have you ever went to all your restricted free agents and said this? I will guarantee you not one of the 32 GMs will tell you he's done that with all of his restricted free agents. I can guarantee you that.
Oh, that's just how
I understand. I understand where you're coming from. I just disagree with you.
It's not the free agents. It's the guys that you have on contract with these no trade clauses.
I know, but trust me, I understand where you're coming from, and I could see where you would think that. I just disagree with you because if I'm a GM, I don't want that guy knowing that, hey, I've told them the teams I won't go to, or I've told them this or told them that before the season. Trust me, these guys have families. You don't want them thinking about that coming around draft time and July 1st.
Fine. But you know what? The most important thing.
Thank you, Ashley.
Actually, thinking about it around draft time is the best time because kids are out of school. Best time to move. Summer's the best time to move. That's one of the things that got brought up with Krug. If he went to Philly, there was a good chance Philly was going to trade him before the trade deadline. And he would have had to have moved his family twice in 1 year. That was something he didn't want to do. I think what I'm saying makes a lot more sense than you really get to. You have to, Lance, hold on. You have to look at this from a couple of different angles.
I do.
One of the angles is every one of those guys knows this is a business.
Yes.
Every one of those guys knows that their name gets thrown about left, right, and center every day.
Sometimes.
Right? If a GM said, you just tell me what teams you will not go to, that's going to put, in fact, you know what that would do? I think it would put a lot of guys at ease.
No, it wouldn't.
Right? I think it would put a lot of guys at ease. And all he's saying, he's not saying he's going to do it. He's going to say if somebody calls and brings you up, if I know for a fact you don't want to go, I end that conversation. You don't hear it through news media that we talked about trading you when we didn't.
If you're going to do that, don't give them a damn no trade clause. Then you don't have to ask, and they can be thinking about being moved all the time. If you're going to do that to a guy, it's just, trust me, guy. I know how these guys think. These guys don't want to know, hey, he doesn't plan on trading me, but I gave him a list of teams I might go to or I don't want to go to. That's not the way the CBA works.
Lance, I really disagree. I think that
I'm looking at it from a player for guys that knows general managers and people around the league. Trust me, guy, 99% of the players would not like that at all. I understand where you're coming from. I fully understand where you're coming from, and I understand why you feel that way. I just disagree with you. No big deal.
Right, and that's fine. You're welcome to disagree. I'm still going to argue. McGongo, how we doing? No, actually, he did not. That's what all this has come up from. That's why all of this heat has come out, is because Krug was not going to go to Philly. He was never going to go to Philly, and they had an agreement in kind long before this shit got leaked.
That's not true. That's not true because the GM and the coach all called, and one of Krug's friends all called him and spent an hour on the phone with him, convincing him to come, and them telling him that they wanted him there.
That was released. That's after it was released.
But they initially didn't have a plan, and then once that happened, he said no. Then they put the plan in place and talked to teams like Florida and Carolina.
No. That's the other side of that. I'm talking about they had a deal in kind, the original deal in kind that was agreed to by both teams. Was agreed to before Armstrong went to Krug and asked him to waive his contract.
Yeah, because that's the way it's supposed to be done.
Armstrong got a chance to talk to Krug. It got leaked. Krug found out about it before Armstrong called him. That is the huge issue in all of this. And what I'm trying to get at is that could have been avoided by simply knowing off the bat that he would have never gone to Philly because his name never would have come up and you would have worked some other thing out. That's what I'm getting at. I'm hoping I'm making a little bit of sense.
I understand where you're coming from. I just disagree with you.
Oh my goodness. Here we're going. I'm missing your comments. Let's get caught up in comments here. I've seen a couple of them. Rumor that Sonny D is hanging out in St. Louis. He actually lives in St. Louis. He moved to St. Louis and lives in St. Louis. So him being in St. Louis isn't a big deal. I don't think it should be looked at as that.
That boat is sailed a long time ago.
Huh?
That, all these fans, they want Perron back. They want Sonny D back. They want Walker back. Guys, this is a business, as Guy said. This is a league where players get traded all the time. Just because a guy played for you and did well for you for 3, 4, 5 years doesn't mean that's not a reason you bring him back.
Krieger says it's amazing we still don't have much cap space for getting rid of Barbashev, O'Reilly, and Tereshchenko. Well, this is going to rile some people. Well, that cap space got eaten up by Thomas and Kyrou. The cap space that we freed up, quote unquote, from Tereshchenko. Again, Tereshchenko and O'Reilly were free agents this year.
Yeah.
So that money wouldn't have been there to begin with, right? And you got to understand that a lot of these guys, when they got their contracts, GMs projected what the salary cap would be at this year, and it's $8 to $10 million less. So they signed a bunch of contracts expecting the salary cap to be $8 to $10 million more than what it is. You could not have known COVID was coming, right? And that has a lot to do with it. Now, I want to explain something here. I know we tendered them offers, but until they ink that offer, that money is not spent.
Guy, okay, you can't spend it because you've already offered them contracts, so it's spent.
You know what? It's happened in the past. I know it's not in the recent past, but there's been free agents before that did not sign their deals so late in the season. I forget who it was. I remember this happening maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
It was
RFA.
It was Nylander didn't sign his contract till December,
right? They spent,
but they couldn't spend that money.
When the season came, they spent that money, and when he came to ink his contract, they had to move contracts around to sign him. They spent that money. They didn't sit there and go, nope, we're gonna use it.
That's a terrible way to do it, Guy. You cannot. Okay, if you offer a guy a contract and you go, well, I don't know if he's going to sign it, I'm going to go sign a bunch of other people, you're committing fraud because you've offered him that legal contract.
Yeah. No, they didn't offer fraud. They had to release the guys or move the guys around.
Yeah, but Guy, they wouldn't have had to do that if they would have honored his contract. That's what I'm saying. Doug Armstrong is not going to go out and spend $3.5 million when he's got $3.5 million out there already. He's not going to do that.
Okay, well.
Oh, and also, by the way,
with the money, technically is not spent yet.
Barbashev is a free agent too.
Yeah, Barbashev's not on. Let's see here. They did offer 3 qualifying contracts. Yes, I know that, but that doesn't mean the money. It's. Guy, I want to give you this money, but if you're not taking it yet, it's still in my bank account. If I write you a check, and you don't cash that check, the money's still in my bank account.
Okay, and then you go spend it, let's say, And then the guy comes back 2 days later. I signed the contract. Then you got to do what Toronto did. Armstrong's not going to do that. Armstrong is not.
I get it. I'm just saying technically. I said technically. You guys got to listen to what I say.
Well, technically, the Blues are Stanley Cup champions, but it was 4 years ago.
Yeah. Has the smoke hit you yet?
Nope.
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 Smoking in pontoon.
Yep.
Thought neighbors having a party. Alex, welcome to the show. After 3. Where are we at here? James Anthony, how you doing, my friend? Robert Morton says, how bad is Kevin Hayes if the Flyers are retaining 50% for the next 3 years? I don't think it's first of all, this is prime example of what happens when you have a toxic coach. Kevin Hayes likes Philly. He wants to play in Philly. His coach doesn't like him. His coach made it known that he didn't like him and that he didn't like the way he played. And it caused it to the point where, you know, Philly, it set up this point where Philly just had to let the guy go.
Yeah.
Because the coach was going to make him you were going to pay a guy $7 million to sit in a press box.
And you know what? That's what worries me about Berube. Because with Berube, it's the my way or the highway. And he's called out Kyrou. He's called out Thomas. He's called out Tarasenko. Hayes will not be happy if Berube starts doing that to him.
We've been in the same room. We get along.
Yeah.
We get along. Ashley agrees with you, which that's not surprising to me at all.
Well, Ashley's always right. So
Hayes is better than McDavid. And the only reason I put it up because I know Mike's being a jackass. Yes, I took my thing off. My wrist is stiffened up and I need to get some range of motion. So I got it doing that. It's not, see, I think you all are missing what I'm trying to say. It's not that you're going to move people and that you're going to try and move people. You want to know if somebody calls.
Hey, Guy.
What?
If you had a kid and you couldn't afford to keep him back in the 20s and 30s, do you tell that kid 6 months before you orphan him off, hey, boy, I love you. You're my favorite son, but I can't afford to keep you. I might have to put you in a home.
There's a lot that did that. There's a lot of people that did that.
It's not right. What I'm saying is you didn't tell that kid beforehand. You waited till the last minute so he wouldn't pitch a fit or run away in those 6 months.
Right.
But you're right. A lot of people did do that.
He has a right to say no. He had absolutely. I don't have any fault of Krug in this one bit. I have zero fault in Krug in this. My fault is Army on this. Right? When Philly first started mentioning Krug's name, before they had a deal in kind, Army should have been on the phone to Krug and say, hey, bud, not that I'm going to trade you, but Philly has come to me with an offer and they'd like to have you. Would you waive for it? And he would have said no, and then Armstrong would have come back and said, hey, we got to take Krug off the table. Let's work something else on. And the shit wouldn't have leaked.
Oh, it would have got out. Yeah.
No, it wouldn't have. At that point, because it would have only been something between two GMs. I don't think that it would have gotten out. Right now, yes, I am moving. I just don't know when. My arm. There's some other things. I do plan on we'll talk about this a little bit later. Schedule was released today. I am going to be home for the home opener. I do know that. I will be home to see the Seattle Kraken play the Dallas Stars, or is it the Star? No, the Kraken play the Blues. I will be home for that. With the no trade, so he doesn't have to move his family for 7 years. And that's right, he did. I agree with you there. I agree with you. But we shouldn't compare Krug to Petro because they're not the same player. They're not even close.
No, and like I told Guy last night, Krug is a 40-plus point guy, and he's only played 63 games last year and 50 or 60 the year before. You're in top 35, 40 defensemen in scoring, which means the number one in scoring for most teams with what he does. I don't know why people hate on him so much. I I don't get it. And then people say, well, we got Perinovich. They're the same type of player and you don't need two. So then I turn it around and say, okay, so we've got a big guy and who's physical on defense. You trying to tell me we don't need more than one physical defenseman? That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. I like Krug.
Yeah, I do too. I don't think he was a panic signing.
I don't think it was either.
Right?
No.
I don't think it was a panic signing. I think he knew he went out there and looked at what the defensemen were out there and what they had, and they thought that Parayko was going to take over for Pietrangelo, and he hasn't. I don't think it was. You know, the booting me, where are we at here? Robert Morton, Lance pulling the trust me line. It doesn't work when I tell my wife, trust me.
Yeah, but you don't have 32 wives. That's 32 wives.
What?
I was talking about the GMs. I said, trust me, ask the 32 GMs.
Yeah. James Anthony says, damn Twitter. Twitter is what Twitter was. Dale Clerk. See what happened to the two we picked up on waivers. We only picked up one on waivers. Traded for the other one. Still have 3 front. Give our defense a chance because they had a bad year, because our forwards don't like to play defense. Just my opinion. Find out tomorrow. Dale, that's not bad. I'm okay with you there. And welcome back to the show, Dale. I know you left for a while. You weren't happy with me, but hey, bud, welcome back. Greatly appreciate you. And you make a good point. Now, again, we only picked up one on waivers, and that was Kasperinen from Pittsburgh. And we traded for Varna, and I think we traded a draft pick. Right? We didn't trade much for Varna. I know that.
Mm-mm.
Right? I don't want Perron back. Sorry. Yes, well, I don't know where that came from. Shockey says, so Gary said $4 million salary crap to go up, and it didn't. I think owners will get together. And that's kind of stuck now. Contract doesn't mean unless it's signed. That's what I was saying. 22 hours to the Bedard era of Blackhawks hockey. I think the Blackhawks have had a very good offseason. So I'll be honest with you. I think getting Hall and was the other guy they got, Fogliano, and then signing Fogliano.
You mean Foligno?
Foligno to a 1-year deal. I like that. I think that is a good one. Lance, you're absolutely right. Here's the thing, though. I think Kevin Hayes is the player that Berube is going to like, and Hayes will do what he tells him. I don't think so there.
No.
He does not play defense. He's not a two-way center.
Nope.
At all. The Blackhawks schedule released was great by calling every team they played by a different hot dog. I don't know. You know what? You want Wendy to join us, bud?
I don't care.
Now that we're caught up, I'm looking forward to the draft tomorrow. I really am.
I am too.
I am concerned about getting draft picks on the show, though, because the guy that I had was flying out of New York and the weather. So now he's driving through the night to get there. So, you know, if he gets me guys, he does. If he doesn't, he doesn't. I'm not going to, I'm not holding my breath, but I'm hopeful.
I hope you do. That'd be great.
It would be nice to have that.
Yeah. Plus, you know what's good about that? If you get an interview with a young kid like that and he hears who the guy's interviewing him for, chances are if you ever ask again, he'll remember that interview at the draft and maybe you can get him again. That's what really helps.
Okay. Actually, they got a few small things to. I gotta make a few small things.
Changes, join us, Wendy.
To my thing. I'm trying to find Wendy here. Let me get this. Paste there. There you go, Win. I just sent it to you. Go to this here real quick.
Hey, guy,
yeah.
Real quick, and I normally do this stuff off air. Would you like a Jake Allen bobblehead?
Yes.
If you pay the shipping, which would be like $8 to $10, I'll send you one. I've got 3 of them.
How about you hold it until I get there?
All right.
That work?
Yep, I'll hold it for you.
Okay,
I don't need
did
3
they
of them.
release it?
I like
they
one,
released
but I
it.
don't need 3.
Say again?
I need one, but I don't need 3. And the reason I got 3 of them, a guy had 3 of them and sold them to me for $5 a piece. Oh, I see that.
Sorry, I'm trying to.
That's all right. I see that pronger bobblehead I gave you in the back.
It looks
there.
like they released my story.
Did they? Cool. Put a link
they
out.
Published it.
Put a link out so everybody can see it.
Yeah, I'll put that out here in a second.
It's good to see you writing again. It gives you something to do besides the show, and you know.
Yeah, the story is shorter than I normally do.
Yeah, that's all right. So sometimes you can say a lot in a short story.
I try and write 1,000 words.
Yep, 1,000 words.
This one's only 500.
You can say a lot in 500 words.
They didn't make those changes, but for the most part, what I got told was it was a good article. So let me go here and put it.
I'll read it.
I'm going to post it to where people can click the link here in a second.
I'll read it when I get it.
Yeah, no problem. So I'm putting the link in this chat.
Cool.
Right. So right there. So that's the link to the article. So if you're in this chat, you should be, and you're watching it from Guy Bensing and not the Blue Note Fan Report. You should be able to click on that, and then I'll add that to my page here. Hopefully some people will read it. If they do, they do. If they don't, they don't.
Is Nick coming on?
He should be. I sent him the link, so we'll hear when he pops in. Agree 100% with Lance about you writing. Guy Lance, did you see RR's open to come back?
Yeah, but you know what? That was before Hayes, and I'm going to tell you right now, Roar's already said he says he loves playing in Toronto, blah, 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 the whole spiel. Just like he said before he left here, he'd love to be back. He says that, but then again, he says with their cap situation, I saw an interview with him, he's not sure if they can afford what he's looking for, which tells me that the Blues can't afford what he's looking for. And I love Ryan O'Reilly and what he did the first 2-3 years he was here. But last year wasn't a good year for him. He was a little better than the year before. I think it's time to move on from him, but I love the guy. I hope he finds a team that he can be successful with.
He's the Algorithm Bowl. I don't know what that means.
Algorithm?
Oh yeah, I don't know what that means. Well, I mean, I know what Scary's commenting, I don't know.
Is he talking about Wendy being an analytics guy? And normally Wendy's not an analytics guy.
Oh, I don't. I see Ryan going to Detroit with DP. I don't know about that. I don't see that. Wendy's booting up his computer.
Yeah. I don't think he's going there either. I think he's got a couple other places to go.
Yeah, I think he's going for another ring. I think he's going after another ring.
Can we talk real quick of how much they gave up to get Pierre-Luc Dubois, a guy that
I didn't hear the whole trade. I didn't hear the whole trade.
I have to go back through it, but when I saw it, I'm like, plus you got to pay him $8-something million a year for 8 years. He's only had 50 points once in his career. Once. And people say we overpaid for Thomas and Kyrou. Yeah. I'll look that back up. Let me find it because I had it written down and I can't.
Yeah, he's going to LA, and I think it's a good fit for him.
It's a good fit.
I don't understand why Tank isn't on the top 10 of most guys' free agents. I think Tank should be.
Most lists that I find, he's 9th or 10th.
9th or 10th.
Let me find
hey, Wendy.
The Jets receive Alex Iafolo, Rasmus Kupari, and Gabriel Velarde and a 2024 second-round draft choice.
That's not a bad haul.
It's not a bad haul, but I'm saying is that's a lot for the Kings had a lot of youth and other guys to give up. But I like Pierre-Luc Dubois, but man, I think it's too much for him.
Are they retaining some of his salary? Is Winnipeg retaining some of the salary?
No, they just signed him to
$8 million.
Yep. Go ahead.
So what? A sign and trade and sign?
Yep, $8.5 million for 8 years each year. Yep.
Yeah. Wendy, you guys had a good day yesterday. Did I lose you, Wendy?
I think he's frozen.
Oh, Nick's froze. Wait till he pops back on. There he goes. You with me, Wendy?
I'm rebooting my Wi-Fi.
Okay, no problem. Right? I'll take you out. Give me a thumbs up in the window when you're good, and then I'll bring you back in. Right? Hopefully you heard me. Let me bring it back in. No. So we'll wait. We'll wait and see what happens with Wendy. I'll wait to see if he starts moving in the window down there, and then I get a thumbs up from him or whatever. They had a good day. I'm sorry. I think they had a good day. Now look, I know I am probably the only person out there that thinks Connor Bedard is not going to have a good. That he's not going to be who everybody thinks he is.
No, you're not, Guy. I agree with you. I think he's going to be good, but he's not going to be Gretzky or McDavid
Right.
or Lemieux or those guys.
But getting Hall and the other guy and putting, that's see, I seen you put something out about Hall not being the right guy for.
I don't think he is.
Bedard, I kind of think he is, because I think he's a guy that's been in that boat. Number 1 overall pick, a lot of what do you call it, expectations and all of this, and then it went to nowhere. He's not had a bad career, but he's had a tough one. The loss of Iafallo.
Yeah,
maybe.
Iafallo's a big loss for the Kings. I have always liked him.
Yeah, but they play the same position, right?
Well, yeah, but if I'm the Kings, I give up some stuff for him. But man, Guy, I know the Kings have a lot of youth, and I picked them last year to be a hard team to beat in the playoffs, in which they were. I just think that's too much for him.
Are you good, Wendy? Nick,
you there, Wendy?
Yeah, my Wi-Fi was just acting up.
All right.
Okay.
So
I
think
what I was talking about, you guys had a good day yesterday. And I think you added to it today. What are your thoughts on the trade with Boston and the potential of Hall being a mentor to Bedard, along with, getting the other guy? I can't remember what his name is. I'm going to say it wrong. Foligno. Nick Foligno, for a good 1 year, team-friendly deal.
Yeah, what the Hawks did was good. I like it. They gave up 2 prospects who weren't going to have any future with the team. Ian Mitchell played about 80 total games in 3 total seasons. Regula has been dropping in the depth chart on the defensive pipeline, so they trade out both RFA rights to the Bruins. Hawks bring in the Taylor Hall for 2 years at $6 million. Former first overall pick, gets to line up with Connor Bedard. That's a perfect fit. Then you bring in Nick Foligno, former captain to the Blue Jackets. He brings that leadership quality the forward core does not have yet. And it's only for 1 year for $4 million. Granted, it's an overpayment, but it doesn't hurt the Hawks in any way.
Yeah, to me, it's in some ways it's a team-friendly deal, because he could have gotten more elsewhere, right?
I don't think Foligno could have got more.
Oh, I don't think so.
I honestly thought Foligno was more of a 1.25 to
2.
If a team really offered was $2 million, his max. The Hawks had to overpay to get him to become a mentor and leader in the Blackhawks locker room.
Yeah, and I like the Foligno signing better than the trade for Hall. I like Tyler Hall, but I think Foligno's going to have more of an impact on that team.
Foligno will be a bottom line type of guy. Hall, yeah, he's on the back end of his career, but he could still put up 60 points in the NHL. He had a down season, but he was over a point per game in the playoffs. Granted, they played 7 games this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't that bad because he helped my fantasy team. I mean, he wasn't as bad as his off year as you think he would, because he was helping me in fantasy.
He
Now I
hasn't
got to
put
trade him. Now
Yeah.
I got to trade him because of you, Wendy.
up.
I won't have it because you won't have any Blues on your fantasy team. I won't have any Blackhawks on mine.
I would tell you, if you keep Taylor Hall on your fantasy team, it might be a smart move. He might be getting more point production on the Hawks just because he's going to be more of a setup man and he is a playmaker already, but he's going to have more on ice time with the Blackhawks than he did with the Bruins.
The only problem
I
I
got a good
see
question for you.
real quick,
Off the. Go ahead. Sorry, Lance.
real quick. The only problem I have, and I haven't seen anybody in Chicago talk about this. Tyler Hall missed 23, 22 games last year because of it. And all year long, he had a bad leg and it didn't get better at all during that whole year last year. That's the only thing I think they're taking a risk on. Because, you know, people have said it's really bad and it's probably never going to get better. And I've heard other people say with time off, he's gotten better. So if he's fully healed, I think he'll be much better. But if he's you can't have a bad leg injury and succeed in the NHL, because he had 61 or 62 points the past season and then missed those games and, you know, didn't have as many points last season because he's capable. But man, a leg injury can really hurt a guy.
Yeah. So what kind of hot dog were the Blues, Wendy?
Blues hot dog was shaped in the arch. If you go to the Blackhawks Twitter, you could see all 31 other teams, what their hot dog was. The Flyers, they made look like gritty. Yeah, they made it shaped in, they basically curved a hot dog into the shape of the arch.
I'll give him credit for that. That's pretty that's pretty classy there. I mean, that's funny. It is funny. All right, I'll give him credit with that. The schedule came out today. The one I got to tell you, I think that sometimes the schedule makers try and be funny and they're not, and I think that they're going to hurt somebody more than they're going to help them, and that's by having the Blackhawks face the Penguins on the opening night, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's already comparing Bedard to Crosby, and now you've just increased that expectation on an 18-year-old.
I don't think so. The Hawks already expected to get more national televised games again this year after winning the lottery. That was expected. The Hawks were, with the lottery, a lot of the time the team who does win the lottery tend to get more national games because they want to show the national networks want to show off the young star coming into the league. And I get it. They put it up against Crosby. A lot of people were kind of... one thing I complained about with this matchup, it should have been a home game for the Blackhawks if they wanted to do it that way. Versus
that's possible. I won't disagree with you there. I think that probably should have been more of a home game than an away game. This is something that they did do with the Blues. The Blues, but while we don't have that long homestand like we normally have, we also don't have that long wait to start the season and then to play our second game like we've had the last couple of years, right? We have our first two games within 4 days of the season starting. So the season opens on the 11th, or no, the 10th. The Blues play on the 12th, and then they play again on the 14th, right?
Okay.
Where the last couple of years, they were the last team to open their season, and they were the last team to play their second or third games. So in my eyes, the schedule, I'll take not having a long homestand if I don't have that huge gap at the beginning of the season that's going to be made up in the middle to end of the season.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from there.
Right? Besides Bedard, what else are you looking forward to in the draft? What do you think Chicago may do in this draft?
I think we see the Hawks try and move back up into the higher teens in the draft because they currently sit at first and 19 in the first round of the draft. They have 4 second-round picks. I could see the Hawks try and package some of those seconds and that 19th overall to move up into the probably around 11 to 12 range in the draft, just because they are going to be aggressive tomorrow. They're going
Who
to try.
Who are you hoping to get in that range?
I want to see them pick up some with size and a player I would expect them to try and go after. If he isn't dropping and the Hawks stay at 19, I will say go with Danielle Boot from the KHL. If they move up, go with Kobe Barlow.
I don't even see Book on here or Bonk. Okay, they've got Bonk at Oliver
Boot
Bonk,
is
right?
spelled like what?
They've got him listed at 25.
I've got Boot listed at 35.
Boot or Bonk?
No,
Boot.
you Boot.
I call him Butt. That's what I call him.
B-U-T, right?
What?
I know he's Boot, but I call him Butt.
Yeah, B-U-T.
So they've got him listed at 31st. So you're talking about a kind of a reach if you're getting him at 19. That's a reach to me. I think
honestly,
you do better to drop.
The Hockey News is the thing with the Hockey News. They're the only ones that have him at 31st. A lot of other mock drafts, like if I remember correctly, Bob McKenzie has him going in the top and like around the 19 area.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, that's possible.
Most of them I'm seeing, like I'm looking right now at, let's see what Gabriel Foley has Boot at 30th. And I think Hockey News has him at 32 or ESPN, and I have him at 35. I've seen one, I think it was McKenzie, that had him at 20th, I think, or 19th. He's a big guy. I mean, he's like what, 6'5", 6'4"?
6'5", 205 pounds.
Yeah,
he's a big guy.
Right. I'm still hopeful for Benson. I'm hoping Benson drops a spot or two.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think Michkov is going to drop. He could. I hope if he's there at 10, that the Blues don't take him.
Michkov won't be at 10.
No, a lot of people have the Blues taking Reinbarker or see who's the other guy.
Well, that's a defenseman, and the Blues haven't taken a defenseman, and they don't need a defenseman. They have a glunt at defense.
Yeah,
I can't see him taking a defenseman. There's no way. No way to take a defenseman.
I really like Dvorsky. I hope he's there at 10. I think he's a really good player.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'll give it to Chicago. That's pretty good. Right? That's pretty good.
Dvorsky, I could see at 10, but honestly, I could see Dalibor Dvorsky end up going in like around 14 in the draft.
Yeah,
you see him dropping that far?
Yeah. He could, yeah.
Wow.
There's this year a lot of teams want to go with the centers because this is a center heavy draft.
Yeah. I've been scouring over this Hockey News, and when I do, the guy that leaped out to me was Benson. Benson just leaped from the page to me.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and you look at, if they're saying that his high end, what he could become as a Brad Marchand type player, and when I say that, it's not the antics of Brad Marchand, it's the numbers of Brad Marchand.
Yeah,
I'll
but
take those numbers any day of the week.
I think Zach Benson's going to be long gone before 10.
Yeah.
Huh?
I think Benson's going to be long gone before 10.
I project Benson at pick number 7.
7? Well, they've got him listed at 8 here. So to me, if that's your guy, then Armstrong, package a pick and go up and get him.
Damn guy, he's small.
Got room to grow.
He's smaller. He's not as short, but he's 5'10", 159. I could blow on him and he would move across the ice.
But he's also fast. He's got speed. That's the one knock on Bedard that he doesn't have.
Bedard
He's got speed.
Bedard does have speed. Have you not watched
But Nick, he finished like 8th or 10th in the skills contest with speed.
17th.
Yeah, it was bad.
I mean, not a lot of the players are even trying in that skills contest.
Yeah, but also he did not do well at the combine in the speed category from what I heard.
The combine for speed isn't even part of they don't do much for the speed because you're running versus on ice versus skating ability. They aren't seeing the actual skating ability. The way Bedard skates is honestly like a Patrick Kane type of skating ability. Kane didn't have the speed. Kane had the skill and stick handling to outmove any of the defensemen in his play.
I could see that. I mean, again, that just right now, I look at Bedard and I go, against boys, you weren't the fastest. Where are you going to be against men? And that you take a guy that's 17th against boys and you put him against men, he's going to be down towards the bottom half. And
you'll be surprised with how Bedard playing ability is. It will actually surprise you. Granted, when is the first time the Hawks play St. Louis at all this year?
I don't even know. I haven't taken a deep dive into the schedule yet. Probably going to be somewhere in November or December. November 26th.
I have it on my phone. Yeah. November 26th.
Ready for us.
Still over. That's 2 months into the season.
Bedard could be down in the juniors by then.
No, he won't. He'll be up with the Hawks the entire season.
We'll see. That's what they said about Wright.
Not really. No one was last year when Seattle took Wright. A lot of people were projecting them to send him back to the OHL. They expected him to play the 9 games, and then they sent him back. That's what was happening there. They took longer to send him back because they wanted to play the 9 games over a spread of almost a month.
Yeah. Well, it's what I. Thank you, Ryan Green. Oh my goodness! I don't know why. I just something tells me, and it's it's a gut feeling, right? It's that Ryan Leaf gut. Everything about Ryan Leaf. Peyton Manning or Ryan Leaf, and Peyton Manning or Ryan Leaf, and even then, I looked at Leaf and go, something doesn't. I don't feel it.
It wasn't Peyton Manning or Ryan Leaf. It was his brother and Ryan Leaf.
No, it was Peyton.
No, it was
I'm
not.
almost dead certain.
Nope, it was not. Mm-mm.
I'm almost dead certain it was Peyton.
Maybe it was, but I thought it was his brother.
Nope, it was Peyton. Peyton or Leaf. Right? And Leaf is considered to be the biggest bust in the NFL ever. And he was taken number 2 overall. Right? I'm pretty sure he was taken number 2 overall.
1998.
Am I right or wrong?
You're right.
Right? Peyton was number 1. Leaf was number 2. And I think Leaf went to the Chargers, if I remember right.
Yep.
Damn. I don't know how I remember that. I want Parayko gone tonight. That's not going to happen.
No, I don't see that happening.
Parayko, they're too sold on Parayko, right? And that contract's too hard to get rid of. It's 7 more years of that contract, right? I'll tell you what, the guy that they could trade of the 4 defensemen, Leddy, Falk, Parayko, and 5 defensemen. Leddy, Falk, Parayko, Krug, and Scandella. Now Scandella's got a 7-team no trade clause, so pretty much he could go anywhere. But of the 4, the guy that I think you could trade out of that 4 is Falk. I think you could trade Falk and get a decent return for Falk.
I think Leddy is the one you could trade the most because he's got the most team-friendly contract.
They got the same contract. They all have the exact same contract.
Leddy is making $4 million a year, remember? Because they gave him that instead of, remember? They gave him that.
You're right. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. Leddy's at $4 million.
Yeah, they gave him that instead of giving it to Perron.
Right? Leddy's at $4 million. That's right. Falk, Krug, and Parayko are at 6.5.
And Scandella's 3.5, I think.
Yeah, 3.2. And he's only got a year. Scandella won't make the whole year with the team. He will be traded. Right? Because they've got Rosen, they've got Tucker, they've got who else on the down in the bottom? Kessel, Tucker, Prunovich, and
McGinn.
McGinn's a forward.
Oh, I thought you were just talking about players down.
No, I'm looking at defensemen, right?
All right.
They've got young defensemen that they want up. So because of that, Scandella will not make it to January. He'll not make it through January. He will be gone before. I could see him being gone really before the start of the season. If you need to free up $3.25 million, you can get a 3rd round pick or better, or a prospect, a high end prospect for that money, in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because here's the thing, and this is the one thing we know about Doug Armstrong. More than any other GM, I think Doug Armstrong highly overvalues his players. And because of that, it makes trading with him harder. And I'm sorry, look what he got. You know, I think that this is a big win. Getting yesterday or this weekend, I would not have thought that this Hayes trade was a big win for the Blues. I now think it is. When you get a guy at half his salary for 3 years for a 6th round pick, that's a steal. Low risk.
I have no clue what Danny Briere was thinking doing that trade.
That was appeasing Tortorella.
I don't think so, because Tortorella and Hayes actually had history together, and that's why Hayes and why Tortorella went to Philadelphia to be back with Hayes.
It somewhere in the season it flipped because Tortorella made him a whipping boy and started putting him on, started making him a healthy scratch.
That was at the point in the season when the Flyers wanted to play more of the young guys.
Well, I think that's where they're at now, and I think that the concern was is you were going to have a $7 million healthy scratch, and if you're going to have a $7 million healthy scratch, why not move him to somebody else and free up some of that room for somebody to not be a healthy scratch? Because you can take that 3.5 mil. And get somebody that fills Kevin Hayes' shoes. You can get a number 2 center for 3.5 mil. Right? That's the way I look at it. Right? That's the concern when you have Jamie Rivers wants Hayes with Booch. Oh,
No,
I don't know about that.
No, because Booch is going to be on the first line, and if
Booch is
if
Booch is
Berube
with- Booch
puts
is
Hayes
with-
on the front line in the center and instead of Thomas, that's just ridiculous.
No, Thomas with Kyrou and Bushnevich.
Yep, and
Did
then
I
Sod,
freeze?
and then Sod and Hayes and who am I missing here on the second line? Sod, Hayes.
I don't know. Did I
I'm drawing
freeze,
a blank.
guys?
I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
Hold
your
on.
picture's frozen, but we can still hear you.
Okay, I can fix that real quick. I might disappear for a second.
It's all good.
Oh, actually, something happened.
You're
with
moving
my-
again.
You're just a floating head.
Yeah. Stand by a second. Something happened with my. Oh, that's not good. Oh, my thing. Did I come unplugged? I think my camera came unplugged. I may have to disappear for a moment or so.
I can still see
you guys
you.
handle
can
the show
see
for me
you.
for a
Yeah,
few seconds
I can
while
see
try and
you,
figure this
Guy.
out.
We can see
Yeah.
you. That
Okay.
was strange. So did you say last time we talked you bought your season tickets?
I'm working on it right now. Should be getting it this sometime this week.
Good. That's nice.
Hey, you're going to the draft party, right?
Yes, I will be at the draft party in Chicago.
If you want to call in, bud.
I will try, but I don't know how noisy it's going to be
loud.
because it's going to be insane in the draft party.
Yeah, it'll
I
be
get
loud.
it. If but I'm going to send you the link.
Okay.
Right, so you got it. If you can come in and you want to come in and talk about that, you are more than welcome, my friend.
Okay.
Right, you are more than welcome. More than welcome. Now that they got that taken
I'm
care
just
of.
trying to figure out how they're going to show the draft. I know they're going to have a stage set up at it, but I'm trying to figure out how they're showing the draft at the
Where are you going to watch it at?
venue. What?
Where are you going to watch it at?
It's at the it's called the Saltstead. It's in the old factory in downtown Chicago. It used to be a Morton salt factory, and they converted it into almost like a concert venue.
It's not right that they bullied him like that, but if you're going to be a player in today's game and make the money, you better learn to have thick skin. Oh, you must be talking about Krug. Maybe, Justin, I'm not sure. I kind of thought, I have a thought process about it. Oh, you know what? Did you hear us talking about that, Wendy?
No, what's up?
So here's what if I'm a GM, I would do this thing, and Lance thinks that I'm an absolute idiot for doing it.
I didn't say you're an idiot. I
season-
didn't say you're an idiot. I just said you're wrong.
Yeah, well, that's the same thing.
No.
At the end of the season. Oh, Wainwright. Okay. Yeah, the Wainwright thing is bad. That's really bad. To be honest with you. The guy has a bad outing and you make it so bad that he deletes his Twitter.
Oh.
Right?
Cubs fans were going after Wainwright?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was terrible that game in London.
Yeah, but still, you don't go.
I don't. Was it also Cardinal fans going after him?
Yeah, it was.
So it was this. Cub fans were just having fun and messing around, and Cardinal fans were just being pricks about it.
No, it was both ends. According to, I didn't see all of it. It was both of them. Right. So here's what, if I'm a GM, end of the season, right? You have your interviews, right? With player interviews. He interviews with the coach. He also interviews with the GM, right?
Mm-hmm.
Usually, the coach talks about playing, the GM talks about contract.
Yeah.
If I'm a GM, I would go to my guys that have NTCs, right? And even the guys that have the modified ones, that have to submit a letter by a certain date. I say, hey, you know what? How about you get that to me now? right? And the guys that have NTCs, I would say, look, I have no interest in trading you. Not shopping you, none of that. However, if I got a phone call and someone brought your name up, how about you let me know teams that you absolutely would not go to?
Yeah.
Would you do that?
I could see where you're coming from on that. I think it will leave a little bit of a insult to the player
Thank you.
in a way, even though, yeah, they do have to usually provide a list of teams that they would be okay with getting moved to. But I think if this is how I would do it, if you are working out a trade and for instance, how the Hayes trade kind of got screwed up in the weekend, I would have just what?
It got leaked before Armstrong called Krug.
At that point, I would have been calling Krug before any details were coming out because it really didn't. It truly was Armstrong's part not doing his job properly. He should have been in contact with the player ahead of time.
Well, again, what happened is, from what I understand, they reached an agreement in kind, and before Armstrong had a chance to get a hold of Krug to talk to him, somebody on the Philly side leaked it.
That's still a little bit on Armstrong.
Oh, it is.
Do his due
It
diligence.
is, but see, this is why I'm saying. But first of all, let's put you in Krug's situation, okay?
Yeah.
You're Krug. You come to me beginning of the season, end of the season, and I sit down with you and I say, look, man, I think you had a good season, blah, 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 blah. You know what? No, you have a no trade clause, and that's great. I will completely honor your no trade. However, all I'm asking is, if somebody calls me and wants to throw your name, I want to know teams that you would never go to, so I can, if they bring it up, say, nope, out of the question.
Yeah.
I think if he does that, the player doesn't feel insulted by it. The player understands what he's saying, because this shit leaks. This shit leaks. And it leaks left, right, and center for whatever reason. And 90% of the time, do you know who's leaking it? This is the bullshit problem with it. You know who's leaking that 90% of the time?
It's the
GMs themselves.
Yeah.
It's the GMs themselves that are leaking it.
I just need to. This is my thing. How the Hawks were I would have just done it like how the Hawks handled Patrick Kane and Jonathan Taves this year. Just go to them, let them be, and just say, hey, if there is anything going on, just come to us and say where you want to go. That's how I would have handled stuff, but the way Armstrong felt, it seemed like he just didn't do it properly. It seems like he wasn't going to the players saying, I see where you're coming from, and that's how I would have done something, but I would have kind of said, if there's any issues, just give me your list. So, as you can see, this team is kind of in that rebuild, retool, whatever the Blues are wanting to call it, stage. Maybe the players would have wanted to be moved, but I understand Krug not wanting to go to Philadelphia, which, in my opinion, Philadelphia will be the worst team in the NHL next season.
They're going to have a hard hole beating Arizona.
Arizona's not worse. They have a better offense, defense, and goaltending than Philadelphia.
I'm with you there. I don't blame. If a Blues fan is pissed off at Krug, you're wrong. You're wrong. Krug did everything right.
He was offered that contract by Armstrong.
Yeah, he did nothing wrong.
Hell, This is what happened with Brent Seabrook all for his entire time. When Stan Bonehead gave him his contract of 8 years for I can't remember the cap hit, but he gave him a full no movement clause. Seabrook and fans were livid at Seabrook for taking it, but he was given the offer. Wouldn't you take that offer in the first place?
Absolutely.
Here's the thing, and what I said, Nick. As a GM, if you're going to trade a guy, yes. If you have some coals in the fire, you go to the guy and say, "Hey, you don't let it leak first. I'm trying to do a trade." You do not sit down with him at the end of the season or months before and go, "Oh, you got a no trade clause. I don't want to trade you, but I want to know where you might go if I do."
You're missing what I'm saying. You're missing what I'm saying. You're changing the words in my mouth.
You do not discuss what players' teams they don't want to go to and what players they do want to go to until you have something going. Because if I'm a player, well, yeah, I've got it, but he could still trade me.
You know what? A player should be thinking that any day of the week anyways.
That's
right. A player can think that any day of the week.
That's right. So there's no reason to go for him. I asked 32 GMs, Nick, do you warn your players 7 months ahead of time and say, "Hey, I'm not planning on trade you, but if something came up and something came on the fire, what teams do you don't want to go to?" You don't do that because that player thinks, okay, he says I'm not going to be traded, but he's asking me what teams I don't want to go to. I don't feel like I want to stay here anymore. I
disagree.
For instance, if Krug were to have given a list of teams he would not have wanted to go to back after, like on the exit meetings.
Yeah.
If he were to have given his list of teams change super quick in the off season. And look at Philadelphia. Philadelphia had some pieces together, which made them a little bit more of a competitive roster before the offseason happened. They ended up blowing up their roster as soon as they got a full new management group in that organization. Danny Briere is putting his fingerprints on the future of the Philadelphia Flyers. Like maybe, for instance, Krug wanted to have gone to Philly at the end of the exit meetings. And now he sees the mess that Philadelphia is. He gave a list saying I would be okay going to Philly.
This is the part of it you didn't hear that I didn't say. This is not you waiving your no trade clause. This is me just knowing that if someone calls, I tell them no right away so some bullshit doesn't leak.
But things change.
You still got to go back to them.
Things change.
What?
His list of teams he didn't want to go to from the end of last season to teams he could go to now, those things change.
And that's possible. Yeah. And all I'm saying is, if he'd have told Armstrong at the end of at the exit meeting, I would not go to Philly. None of this happens, and he's a happy camper.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's disgruntled. The only thing that may be the saving grace is that they traded for his friend, who's apparently been talking to him and can talk him down off his ledge.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
right? That's the important thing here.
Here's my thing. Who is St. Louis's assistant GM?
Oh, God.
I don't know.
Oh, I do. Our old buddy from Edmonton that screwed everything up in Edmonton.
Peter Chiarelli. Brilliant.
Yes.
Did they bring Chiarelli in?
Yes. Yes, they did.
Oh, brilliant. So Peter Chiarelli should have been on the phone with Krug asking him just before Armstrong was making the deal.
I agree with that. I fully agree with that.
At that point, you have a deal. You're talking out a trade. Armstrong's the one talking the trade.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he's working out the trade. He should have told Chiarelli get on the phone with
Yep,
Krug.
he should have. Yep, I
Would
agree with that.
you ask him, would you willing to go to Philadelphia? And it sounds like that might not have been a thing that didn't happen.
Yeah, it was.
Your
Something
assistant
didn't
GM
happen
should
the
be,
right way, and that we know that. However,
Yeah.
the problem that I see is now, and I wrote. In fact, I want to read this from my article. Can I do that real quick?
Go
You
ahead.
guys okay with that?
Mhm.
So you can check this out. I said this is the one of the paragraphs. I said, while Hayes coming to St. Louis is a low risk option, his ascension in the locker room may be the cost. St. Louis could still move Krug between now and the start of the season on October 12th. However, the deal could easily mirror the one they just made, with GM Armstrong retaining half of his salary over the next 4 years. How do you avoid? You got to find a way to avoid that.
Mm-hmm.
Got to find a way to avoid that, and that might be what you've just gotten yourself into for what was a very, very easily avoidable situation. I know, Matt Lowe. I know Ryan Miller is not the assistant GM. I know that for a fact.
He's not.
Ryan Miller's back with Buffalo.
Who would say that? Ryan Miller ain't no assistant GM.
Is there another guy named Ryan Miller?
Oh, hold on. He's being facetious.
Ryan Miller's back with the Buffalo organization.
Mm-hmm.
I believe. I know his number's hanging in the rafters.
Hold on.
Now I need to know who your guys' assistant is. Because I know with the Hawks, they have like 5 assistant GMs.
I'm looking on here to see if they have on the NHL website if they have listed the. They don't have it listed on here, but
Vice President of Hockey Operations is Peter Chiarelli. The assistant manager is Ryan Miller.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't think that's our Ryan
It's
Miller.
not the same Ryan
It's not
Miller.
the same Ryan Miller. No, it's not. That's why. And he's not making any decisions. Peter Chiarelli is making decisions with Doug Armstrong.
Right.
I would never have given Peter Chiarelli.
He's buddies. He's buddies with Doug Armstrong. That's why he got hired.
When the Hawks were, there was talk the Hawks were interviewing Chiarelli for the GM job in Chicago.
Jeez.
I was terrified. The guy ruins has ruined 2 organizations in his career.
Well, I mean, yeah, we'll see what happens. I just right now, when you put it all down, you take everything and you wrap it up and you look at it. I am happy with this trade. I am concerned. It has a small concern on me, and that's the Krug, how this is going to play out. Now,
the last time
kind of have to look at this. Say again.
The last time we saw something similar to this was Vegas trying to trade Evgeny Dodonov to Anaheim. They made the trade. Dodonov came back and said, "I'm not going there." They were on my no move clause, and in the following off season, they ended up trading him right to Dallas.
Yeah. I think actually the other part of this that I think we've seen semi-recently is the Tarasenko deal, right? Where you had a player that everyone thought was disgruntled, came out and played, just played outstanding. That's what I'm hoping that we see from Krug is that, he comes out and he just puts it all out on the ice. I guess the Cards won. They figured a way to beat the Astros. I don't know how. But good show tonight. Hey, Wendy, thanks for coming. Enjoy your drive. Be safe, please.
Yeah, it shouldn't be any issue driving to downtown.
Yeah, I know. I just, I worry about you, my friend. You're a good friend, and I care about you, and you've been a great friend of the show, and a great friend to me. And I just, when you take that drive, I'm concerned. So just please drive safely. That's all I can ask.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hey, Wendy, tell everybody where they can find you at, buddy.
Can find me on Windy City Hockey on YouTube, just 30 subscribers away from 1,000, and on Twitter, just at WC Hockey, same spelling for hockey on Twitter.
All right. And Lance, where can they find you?
You can find me under the network of the Hockey Podcast Network. I'm under their list of about 30 or 40 podcasts. You can also find me at droppodcast.com. Twitter handle is Drop Hockey Show. And you can also email me at lanced@droppodcast.com.
All right. And everybody knows that I am Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan. You can find me at HISTL Blues Fan or at Blue Note Report or STL Fan Report. You can also find me on YouTube at Blue Note Fan Report or on Facebook at also Blue Note Fan Report. Guys, tomorrow is the day we find out the start of the new season. The official start of the season is July 1st. That is the league season. Schedule's out. Check it out. Join me tomorrow at, is it the draft is at 6?
6 Eastern, 5 Central. Yep, 5 Central.
5 Central. So I will be on it.
Isn't it at 6
Central.
Central?
Is it? I
Again?
thought it was 5.
Yeah, it's at 6 Central because I'm...
All right, that's right.
I'll double
6
check.
Central, 7 Eastern.
Okay.
Let me pull up the draft party list because they gave me all the info for it. Expect the first pick around... They say at 6:15-ish on their website, so
okay.
I think at 6 o'clock. Yeah.
Oh, you'll see me at 5. I'll be on about 5:45. We'll be on. We'll discuss each draft pick as they go. I'll have my handy little guide here with me. If one of those draft picks is willing to do an interview with us, we will have them on there. I will get a hold of my guy. Hopefully, prior to the draft, he'll come on and say hi. He did say that after the first round, he would try and come on for 15 minutes or so. I'm going to be on the whole day. Thursday, I will be on the entire day, 4 a.m. my time. I think it starts at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll be on the whole day as we go through all of those picks, 2 through pick the second round to the 7th round, and all the way down to Mr. Irrelevant, and see what happens.
I want to say one. I want to say one thing real quick. Congratulations, Nick, on close to 1,000 followers on YouTube.
Yep.
Guy and I both know how hard that is to do.
Oh yeah, I've been stuck at 600 for years.
Congratulations!
I can't move, that. So
congratulations.
Right? And I do so many more shows than you, Nick, and I don't move. So
yeah, right? I've been doing this since 2018, and
we started at the same time, my friend.
Yeah, we started at the same time. Yep.
The exact date I started July 12th, 2018.
So I started at just a couple of months. I started in October of 2018.
Yep.
All right.
Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
Right. So keep it up. Hopefully my numbers will jump someday. Yeah. But it is what it is, and we take it for what it was worth. You know what, guys? Have a great night. I will see you tomorrow for the draft. This is Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan, saying aloha mahalo. And you know what?
Hawaii Blues fan, we're bleeding blue with you. Let's go, Blues! Let's go, Blues! Let's go,